Friends, Eyes Open International is very proud to have Prince Manvinder Singh with us today in Mumbai. I am deeply touched. It's a big honor, Manvinder Singh, and he's such a fun guy. I just met him like 10 minutes back, and we are going to explore a lot of knowledge, wisdom, empowerment, inspiration, how to live a life happily with what you desire and what you wish. So, having said that, Manvinder Singh, Prince, he says, don't call me Prince, call me Manvinder. I said, wow, it looks like he's like my buddy. So, I want to shake hands with you.
Yeah.
He said I can mess around with him, so I'm going to give him a hug.
Yes,
He's such a humble guy. So, I just knowledge to all my audience. So, Manvinder Singh, can you just share something to our people all across the globe, because this video is going to be watched in the United States of America, Canada, UK, India, and all across. Please.
Yeah, I'm so thrilled and happy to meet Harold, and I've read so much about him, and I've been greatly inspired by his work. So it's indeed an honor to meet you, Harold, and I don't feel as if I'm just meeting you for the first time. To be very honest, I think we have met. I don't know where, but we are definitely not like physically meeting first time. But yes, I kind of connect with what you have been doing, and it's like it's kind of a even though we come from different backgrounds and everything, but I feel somewhere down the line that you and me are working in a very similar situation, and I think it's the coming together of two souls. I would say not coming together of two bodies, but coming together of two souls. And if we could really come together and do something together, like as one. I am guessing a lot of things can be done, wonderfully well. So yes, I'm looking forward to any kind of collaboration with you. How we could work together, how we can make this wonderful world, this earth, a better place to live, so that people could be free from stigma, from discrimination, from hatred, from getting misused and abused, and there are so many things which people are suffering from here, and now especially in this COVID situation, how we could all work together, even though you may be not staying in India, you may be you're far away, but now with social media and all, you don't even feel that the world is that big. It's quite small. So I think there's lot which we can explore and do to work together. I always I quote one very old Sanskrit saying, which I would like to even quote now, which says Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Now,
What does that mean?
Yeah, the word is complicated because it's Sanskrit. Sanskrit is the oldest language in the world, and this phrase means the whole world is one family.
I love that.
So yeah, so I like to use that word because I don't think we are any way different than anyone else. We are all the same. We are all born equal. So why not we come together and try to see how we can make life easy for another person, whosoever is in a position of suffering or pain, or has been subject to some kind of a discrimination, or so those are my thoughts, those are my ideas.
But I would again always, for my own thing or respecting, I'll always say Prince Manvinder Singh, is that you always said that two souls can become one soul.
Yes.
And I was reading about you, you said that when you got married, I'm okay, right? Talking to you?
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
I have the privilege.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, so this is just basically to educate all my friends across the globe. I know that you got married to a princess, or
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I remember I read that earlier I was suffering or I was going through a pain, but now I got involved with another person, so I made two people suffer. That really touched me. You're thinking so broadly about your partner that you feel so guilty today also that I ruined her life, which I said no, that's not right. But you are thinking so compassionately that you ruined her life and the two souls were suffering. Because can you share something on that and how you came out of it and how you broke the ice?
Yeah. So basically, see, in India, we have to realize one thing that, have got amended now where homosexuality is no longer criminalized.
Yes.
But in the past, things were not as easy. I mean, when I was growing up and all, it was very difficult for people to understand even homosexuality or even understand the LGBT issues. And again, most of Indians who are gay in India are married to women. I mean, there is a survey which says that 80% of the Indian gay men are married to women. Most of them are forced to get married, and that what happens with that is that most of the women, or rather not most, or I would say all, practically all the women who get married, they don't know their husbands are gay, and then the trauma they have to go through, the suffering they have to go through to realize, because see, every woman who gets married, you might give her the total satisfaction, material satisfaction, but at the end of the day, she needs sexual satisfaction from her husband, because that's what she's getting married for, you know. So when that is not available, then most conservative families, they don't even talk, you know. They are trained to remain silent and suffer and bear the consequences. So that is what happened in my case. I got married to a woman, thinking that, like, you know, and I was absolutely ignorant about myself, and in those days there was hardly any communication or any chance to no social media, no mobile phone, nothing, you know, nothing to know about who you are and what you are, and that gave her that was really torturous for her, you know, that she had to suffer because of me for a person and for no fault of hers, and of course there was no fault with me as well. I mean, it's just that I had to get married. That's the thing. But that made me realize that it's important now for people to realize that if they really do need to get married, then they need to open and talk about it, and not make somebody suffer for no rhyme or reason. So I've been doing a lot of work in advocacy, in talking to people, educating people,
yes,
telling not just parents but even talking to the young generation about the issues, and that's the only way you can change the world. You know, you have to talk. You have to basically you can't keep silent. You know, if you talk, that's how you, and that's what you are doing. You know, you're also talking, educating, creating awareness. So we have to keep talking, and fortunately I got some good openings where I was invited by Oprah.
Right.
So I got a chance to talk to her. She talked to me about my marriage with this princess, and you know, that's how the whole world came to know that most Indian gay men are married to women, and you know what are the consequences of that. And so that's how we can give our information out, and people come to know, and they start thinking, oh, so that is the case, and then that's how change happens.
Right. So anyway, moving ahead, I first asking any other question. I just want to thank you for giving me this royal gift from your palace. This means a lot. I'm going to take it to the United States of America.
Yes,
so
but before you take it, you must open this and see what it is inside.
Oh wow! See, yes. Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
I think this will not reach America.
Yeah, that's why I said you should open it, you know, because they may not allow you in the you have to finish the contents and then take the box to America.
Here, if they allow it, I'm going to finish it. I'm going to tell my family.
Yeah.
I know they'll be upset. But Prince Manvinder Singh, like, it is not. It's very easy to say. Right? I know if I was in your place, even what I went through, it was a struggle. I know it was a stigma. People were like, even my own friends stopped talking to me, including my family. People totally disconnected. And I was reading about you, like, you know, it was a stigma because you are a prince, royal family, role model, and people started burning your effigy, you know, like a lot of things. Can you share something about that and how you overcome that? See, I want people to understand they are having that same struggle in their life, and they need to come out and talk, or like you just say you are a rebellion.
Yes.
So can you like educate our audience?
Yeah. See, you are very right. You know, it's not easy. It's not easy to speak the truth. First of all, it's very difficult for anyone to speak the truth. Now these days, people are so used to listening to fake things and listening to lies that even truth is like, and it's always said whenever anyone speaks the truth, it's very difficult for them to accept it. And it's also said that truth is bitter, you know. So people are not very willing to accept the reality. So when I came out, and the simple reason of why I came out is also to break this hypocrisy which is prevailing in our society, where there's always misconceptions about a lot of things, and especially about being homosexual. There are so many misconceptions which people carry. So that was one of the reasons why I said I want, and I knew for sure that my coming out is definitely going to create a big controversy, big scandal, because I was the first member of a royal family in the world to come out. So it was not something which happens regularly. So that itself created a stir, it kind of disturbed the bee's nest or something,
Right.
kind of a thing. So, and I was expecting the consequences to be very, very negative. And you were right. My effigies were burned in the fire. There were protests happening. Police had to be called to disperse the mob, and crowd who were all kind of protesting need to be discommunicated and to be stripped of my title, and many things
Right.
happened. My own parents, they brought out notices disowning me from the royal family and disinheriting me from the ancestral property. On top of that, I started getting death threats also coming.
My God.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine? I am so lucky. I now when I look behind, I have actually met my assassin.
Really?
Yeah.
What did they try to?
Yeah. I mean, who meets the assassin? I mean, so many Kennedy was killed and so many,
Right.
but nobody meets the assassin because they are already gone, But I'm lucky. I met my assassin, and he comes and tells me that I was hired to kill you. I said, wow, what are you doing? Where's your gun? Where's your weapon? I'm standing here waiting to be killed. When he said, no sir, that thing got flopped. I said, okay, no problem. Whenever it gets activated again, I am available. So anyway, so see, these are the things which happen for what? For speaking the truth. I just said that I am gay, and I'm proud to be that. That was the only thing I said, and that caused this whole world to kind of go haywire, by people making all kinds of accusations and discriminations and violation of human rights, and so many things happened. And as you said, that people started disassociating with you. Same thing happened with me, and not just my straight friends, even my gay friends started disassociating with me.
Why?
Because they thought that being connected with me will out them also. Like suppose I have a very good friend, and their parents also know me, and then they'll say, okay, then why is my son friendly with that gay?
Right, got it.
Yeah, so I lost so many friends. I said, fine, I don't care if I lose friends. I'm not going to leave honesty, and I will. And one person who has greatly inspired me is our national leader, Mahatma Gandhi.
Okay.
He has greatly inspired me for being honest, for being truthful, because on the basis of honesty, he got India free from the Britishers. So I said, if he can use honesty as his tool, then why can't I? And in India, as you know, there is a famous phrase, Satyameva Jayate,
Right.
which means truth always wins.
Right.
So I said, if truth is there with me, honesty is there with me, I can have as many assassins as possible. But I will use truth, and I will survive, and I will succeed in all my endeavors. And I'm so happy to say that at least in 2006 I came out, and 2018 we were blessed by the Supreme Court
Right.
judgment, which finally decriminalized us, even though there's long way off to go from there also. But at least I'm lucky that in my lifetime I was able to see justice given to us by our honorable Supreme Court, which was one of the best judgments ever given in any court of the world. So, I've gone through hell. I've gone through lot of hurdles, obstacles, like going against the current, own family disowning, and people going against you, my gay friends going against me. But I said, still I will move ahead in my life. Whatever may come my way, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to continue my fight for hypocrisy.
I love that spirit. I like that. But at the same breath, Prince Manvinder Singh, I just want to share with our audience globally is that you are an inspiration. You got positive energy. You did not disrupt the negativity. Like you said, the entire community was against you.
Yeah.
And I think failure is the path to success.
Yes.
So basically, what you did, and you're an inspiration to all generations, right from birthhood, like to 90 years old. Like people watching you will get inspired. Okay, up till now they were suppressing their wishes, their desires, but now they're able to like come out and talk. Having said that, can you just share? I know in 2002 you broke down mentally. There was a big trauma in your life, and how did that all happen, and what gave you the courage with all these things to come out in 2006 and become a international figure?
Yeah, see, 2002, just 4 years before I kind of came out openly in public, I was too much burdened to live a life of a hypocrite, because I'm not used to telling lies, or used to living a double life where I'm kind of inside something and outside something. And every time if I had to tell something, I had to tell a lie. That I was not used to that kind of life. There was a lot of pressure coming on me for marriage, because being the only son even though now we don't have our powers and privileges, but even still we are still the custodians of the 650-year-old dynasty which I have inherited from my ancestors. So tremendous pressure to see the next in line, next in heir, because if I don't get married, then there will not be a next generation. So that pressure was there. So all that pressure was so much on me that I ultimately broke down in a nervous breakdown situation.
So you were hospitalized?
Yes, I was hospitalized in 2002. Fortunately, the psychiatrist who was treating me was extremely friendly. He was extremely supportive towards me and my cause, and he was the one who volunteered. He said, "Don't worry, what you are, it's natural and normal. You don't have to fear about yourself, and I will help you to come out to your parents." So he did the first coming out to them and made them understand. Okay, so this is the case, and you have to accept your son, because this is he's born with it. It's no fault of his. So you have, like, as we are straight, he's gay. It's just his preference is different. So that's how this whole thing got done.
Good. And before that, I know if we are going to collaborate, so I'm going to present this book which I wrote, A Frog in a Well, to Prince Manvinder Singh, and then this is the a report, the United States Advisory Council report of 2020. So this is from all the survivors and victims. This is a gift to you. I just want you to share Prince Manvinder Singh to our audience. What would you tell, like somebody is going through that situation in his life, maybe he's a teenager, and maybe somebody's already reached 50 or 60, it is better late than never, or just go through that? Or would you encourage him to come out?
Yeah, I mean, see, first or foremost step, like I always say, is accept yourself. That is the first thing which one should do, because that self-acceptance itself, it takes a lot of time and for your own self to adjust. So that's something which is the first thing which one should do, whether you're 15 or you're 50. And you have to realize what is your identity. Many of us, we are not clear about our identity, whether you're gay, you're bisexual, or you're trans, or you're queer, or
Right.
whatever you are, because many times we force ourselves to identify ourselves as bisexual, but because that takes us closer to being heterosexual or closer to being straight, but actually you're not, and in that false identity also creates a lot of issues. So that is the first and foremost thing. Whether you like to come out or you don't like to come out to anyone, your parents or family, that is secondary. But self-acceptance is the first thing which anyone I would advise to do. And believe me, once you have accepted yourself, a lot of the things become very easy.
I think, friends, what Prince Manvinder said, it's a very, very powerful word, acceptance. I'm telling you one thing, it's very powerful. It's in my own life. The day I accepted my mistake, I changed, I flipped. My life changed, and that's how I reached the White House. So if you made a mistake, you have done anything in life, accept it. Same way like what Prince Manvinder Singh has said, that if you are sensing something, that if you're a gay, you're a lesbian, LGBTQ, there's nothing wrong. We are all humans. Accept it. But now I want you to give one answer to our audience, and now not to the people who are gay or lesbian, but to the parents and to the people, community members. Like today, I am mentally prepared that today, even if I have two boys, and if one son comes and tells me, "Dad, I'm gay," I'll support him 100% in mind, body, and soul because I am educated.
Yes.
And I respect his feelings.
Yeah.
So how would you educate people, because people have a lot of hurdles?
Yes. Yeah, so definitely my advice to anyone, parent or anyone who's not from the community would be that try and understand the other person, and how you can understand that person is put yourself in the shoes of that person. Because it's like, when you want to experience what a visually impaired person is, then you have to blindfold yourself. Then you will understand what a visually impaired person goes through in his life. So we have to get inside that person to understand the struggles, what that person is undergoing. Then you will be in a better position to understand. Try and educate yourself about the other individual. And these days there are a lot of opportunities where you can educate oneself and know about oneself, and try to treat everyone as equal.
Right.
Without having to discriminate. I mean, now as we know that there is a Black Lives Movement also happening in many countries, and especially America and all. And like as I said, like for me, I don't discriminate with anyone without subject to race, color, creed, caste, religion. For me, everyone's equal. So just look at anyone. Any person as a human being, and that will help you to understand the person better, accept that person better, and because see, most of us human beings, we are only crazy for love.
Right.
So if you are able to love somebody, that other person will give you a lot of love back. So that's the only thing which we need. We are not even asking for anything special, no special rights or any benefits as such. We just want to be treated equally by everyone without getting subject to any kind of discrimination or violation of human rights. So for parents, I would especially say, if you love your children, then love them irrespective of whosoever they are. Because they are your children, and if one of your child comes and says, "Hey mom, I'm gay," like as you mentioned, you should listen to that child and find out about that child, rather than subjecting him to kinds of like a lot of parents, they are subjecting the children to conversion therapies and lot of things. So understand the child's the issues, the difficulties, and then base your judgment on that person.
Well, thanks, Prince Manvinder. Last question.
Yeah.
Can you educate our audience, especially in India, that on the law of LGBTQ? I know that 2018 you said that now is marriage recognized? Does the community accept them?
Yeah.
Like I'm talking social community, like getting a job or socializing, going to a restaurant, not getting stigmatized. Can you update us on what's happening?
So see, now there is a law in India which had the section 377, which was a colonial law which was made during the British time in the 1860s, which has gone through a lot of court cases and hearings, and finally on 6th of September 2018, the Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court, gave a very historic judgment where they have decriminalized homosexuality. Now, henceforth, any kind of homosexual act, sexual act, will no longer be treated as criminal. So that's a very, very good thing which has happened, because so far we've been treated as criminals in the eyes of law. So that has been now legalized. So as regards marriage is concerned, and adoption and inheritance, all those rights to those issues are still like challenge issues which have to be challenged in the court in order to get some justice. And there are already cases have been filed in some of the high courts where people are challenging same-sex marriage unions and many other issues.
So can you get married legally?
No, as of now,
it is not recognized.
No, Indian the same-sex union and same-sex marriage is not got legal as yet. But it's very interesting to know that socially, a lot of gay marriages and same-sex marriages are happening in India, and there are parents who are accepting it also. So I have seen so many cases where traditionally marriages are happening. Another good thing which has happened is with the trans population is that the transgenders have got in India have got more rights than the lesbian and the gay and the bisexual, the non-transgender community. And even there has been rulings in courts where trans persons have been allowed to get married, and they have been given some various other rights by the government where they have housing, education. See, there will be definitely a violation of human rights, discriminations will still happen in spite of these laws being made. But one needs to knock the doors of the court, and you will definitely get justice because now there is a law. So nobody can harm you, nobody can touch you, and anyone who tries to do that is going to face the court, and it will be a punishment. It will be kind of a offense if anyone tries to violate the human rights of any citizen of India, especially who belongs to the sexual minority community.
I think that's very powerful. Like, would you tell like somebody is gay,
Yeah.
right, or maybe of my age, or somebody who's a teenager, and he comes out, can somebody like stigmatize him, or can you put him like harass him like
Yeah.
legally? No,
Yeah.
right? He's
No,
protected.
yeah,
Is he protected?
definitely a person is protected now in India. Nobody can harass or abuse a person. But why this happens is because of our own fault. Because we are not aware of our own rights. I mean, most of us have not even read the Indian Constitution. You know, so these are the things we need to be aware. Why should we allow the other person to take advantage of us?
Now in this case, like see some robbery happened, I'll call in US I'll call 911. Here I think it is 101. But in this particular situation, somebody is harassed, which
Yeah.
is totally wrong. Whom does he call? Whom does he like? Does he go to the police
You
station?
can, yeah, if you have the guts, you can definitely go to the police station.
But is
But-
police station equipped? Are they informed on this?
Yeah,
Are they?
see, there are certain cities in India where see, it all depends on how strong has been the advocacy and how strong have been the NGOs working in that geographical area of India to have that much of sensitization. For example, if you ask me about Baroda, which is the city where my organization is,
Yes.
Sakshitar, we work with the police. We have members of the friends of the police or friends in support and all that. So we have sensitized the police over and over again and made them aware of our issues and our cases. Not just now, even before even the Supreme Court verdict has come. Even place like Mumbai, certain areas like there is an organization called the Humsafar Trust, which was started by Ashok Rao Kavi and almost 25 years from now. So there are areas in Mumbai also there are sensitized. So it all depends on how much strong is the presence of the LGBT activists in those geographical areas and how well the government and of course the NGOs are supporting where this sensitization is happening, and we are able to get see that's the first step is the person who's a victim. He should realize that he cannot be taken advantage of. If somebody tries to blackmail or threaten or that, he should know that he's not done anything wrong and he has the right to fight for it. And he should have the willingness. And if they have come to me, there are people who have come to me. I get cases day in day out of people who have been discriminated at workplace. They come to me and I have fought cases for them, and I've given them the justice and got the boss, the employer, to sign a letter of apology that yes, we have done wrong, we have discriminated against our employee. So, but as I said, the willingness should be there from the victim, and then we can help that person.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prince Manvinder Singh. And friends, he's very open. Like you know that he's very approachable. So if you have any questions, if you're stuck and you're into the dilemma of of being a gay, I think I would request that you should contact him. Or if you need us, you can contact Eyes Open International at info@eyesopeninternational.org. So Prince Manvinder Singh, I just want to thank you. You have been a blessing. I'm so happy that I came and met you in Mumbai, and I think I'm going to have a talk show with you once I'm back in the US.
Yes.
And you'll do that with me.
Definitely.
Okay, thank you. And we would like to collaborate with you.
Yes.
And
Definitely.
whenever you come to the United States of America, please meet me. So, Vande Mataram, Mera Bharat Maan, God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you.